The main complaint about bean-to-cup machines is that you can't change coffee easily. You know, want to switch from a regular coffee to decaf? Well, you have to empty the hopper, clean the grinder, sometimes even run it empty could be a nightmare. What if I told you there is finally a machine that solves this problem in 3 seconds? Hey everyone, Colin here and welcome to Cafelista, the channel where you learn everything about coffee and espresso at home. Today we are breaking down the DeLonghi Rivelia. No sponsored content or partnership, just my honest opinion on this machine that promises to revolutionize how we manage multiple coffee at home. And as always on Cafelista, I measured everything: temperature, TDS, noise level. I even pulled out my thermal camera, because here we don't do approximation. And by the way, if you want to check the current price of the Rivelia, if you want to see all the specifications, I put a link in the description, you can check it out. Let's start with the design and build quality. First impression, the Rivelia really breaks down the DeLonghi mold. Unlike other models from DeLonghi, the screen is completely flat on top and the water reservoir is positioned on the side, but not inside the machine like on the Magnifica or the Eletta Explorer. The result, a much more modern and streamlined silhouette. It almost looks like a different brand. The Rivelia is the most compact machine from DeLonghi. As you can see here, it's much smaller than the Eletta Explorer, for example. So it's good to know if you don't have a lot of space in your kitchen. Material-wise, it is mainly plastic, but it's good quality. It doesn't feel cheap at all. The drip tray here is protected, so you won't have scratches pretty fast, like on the Magnifica, for example. How the machine heats up. So I used my thermal camera, and after 20 minutes of use, I recorded 43 degrees Celsius on the left panel, around 39, 40 on the top. DeLonghi clearly paid attention to keeping our beans away from any kind of heat source. And as you can see, it is also above the machine, so that's another good point. Now, let's be honest, there is one detail that bothers me a little bit: the plastic hot water spout. Here, I have it. I will show you in detail. So for a machine of this price, it feels really cheap compared to the other model like the Magnifica Evo or the Eletta Explorer, where it's much more solid. So here it really contrasts with the overall quality of the machine. So it's not dramatic, it is a small detail, but it shows. Now the interface and user experience. Here it's really good. We have a 3.5-inch touchscreen that is really top-notch. It is bright, we have bright colors, smooth animation, and above all, remarkably intuitive. So even without the manual, you understand everything immediately. And the machine literally tells you what it's doing. It says things like, "I'll use some hot water to warm up," or even, "Would you like me to save your new settings?" So for some, it might seem gimmicky, but honestly, for beginners, it could be reassuring. A small technical issue. So sometimes you need to try twice for selection. The screen is quite responsive, yes, but it's not perfect. Again, nothing dramatic here, but something to know. And I have something to ask you. If you enjoyed that video so far, could you please leave a like below? It's not much, but I guarantee it could really help us. Thanks a lot for that. Alright, let's go to the serious stuff now. What does it deliver in the cup? So I did all my tests with a freshly roasted coffee bean, a specialty coffee, an excellent Brazilian coffee that works really well with the bean-to-cup machine. Because yes, this machine could use any kind of beans, but they really shine with a certain type of coffee. In terms of temperature here, at the highest setting, we have a coffee that's coming out at 83 degrees, so this is perfect. I know sometimes we can complain that the first coffee is a bit lukewarm. Here, no problem on that side. Now, I also measure the TDS, the total dissolved solids. I'll explain a little bit what it is. We are between 6% at a medium volume and around 7.5 to 8 at a maximum intensity. In terms of dose, I measured usually between 11-12 grams of coffee. That number could help us in dialing our machine properly, but again, I will talk a little bit more about that later. So to put these numbers in context, a TDS between 6 and 8 is pretty good for an automatic machine. For a traditional espresso machine, we are between 10 and 12%. This measures the extraction of the espresso. Now, with that number, we know it's well-balanced extraction, neither too weak nor over-extracted. My optimal setting. I avoided the position 5 on the grinder, but be mindful to leave everything as it is for the first week. Usually position 3 and 4 give me the best results. I have around 40 milliliters in the cup. At position 3, I get beautiful and persistent crema and an espresso with a nice body. And by the way, if you want to perfectly master your bean-to-cup machine settings, I have prepared a free guide, Perfect Bean-to-Cup Settings in 5 steps. It is free, you will find the link in the description, and it could help you to avoid classic mistakes. Don't hesitate to go have a look. So we have a good temperature, a pretty well-balanced extraction in terms of TDS. Taste-wise, it is DeLonghi in the good sense. Faithful extraction to the bean, we have a body that is present for an automatic machine, we have respected aromas. We find this signature I appreciate from this brand. It is the same coffee group on the entire range in DeLonghi, so no surprises, quality is there. For long coffee, the machine offers several volumes. We have of course the lungo, the americano. Personally, I always prefer making a double espresso and adding hot water. One thing to know if you use the americano, if you grind too fine, you will see that the water is going to take a long time to go in the cup because it uses the same circuit as the coffee. So sometimes it's better to just have an espresso and use the water spout here. Now the bean switch system, the 2 coffee hopper. I'll show you, I'll take this one out. That's it. Here's the thing that makes this machine exist. 250 grams hopper. They are perfectly interchangeable. We have a lid in silicone and they're well made. In theory, it's kind of genius. In practice, I discovered an important nuances. But first, what works perfectly? The mechanics. The exchange really happens in 3 seconds. You turn, you lift one hopper, you put the other one down and you're set. The machine detects the change and even offers to purge the old beans. And that's something quite important, so here it's a good point. It is super well thought out. But, and this is important, there could be a limitation. I tested this with a different kind of coffee, you know, a Brazilian dark roast and a light roast from Ethiopia. The result here, if you have really different kind of coffee, the extraction wasn't optimal for one of them. And of course it makes sense. Why? Because these coffees require different grind settings. And an automatic machine isn't designed for constantly changing the settings and the grinder. You know, unlike a manual machine, when you can adjust the grind size every time, here we have to make a compromise. So my practical recommendation is to use the bean switch system with 2 coffees that are pretty similar. For example, you can choose 2 coffees from the same roasters in the same kind of roasting level. And this is where the system really shines. If you go with 2 coffees that are really different, it will work, but you can have an extraction that's not the best for one of them, maybe for the Ethiopian, for example. That said, for me it's a limitation. Maybe it's because I'm reviewing a lot of machines. For 90% of the people using this one, this limitation isn't blocking. Most people just want to alternate between coffee and a decaf or 2 kinds of coffee, and for that, it's perfect. Here, I'll put it back. That's it. Now let's talk about the milk foam and milk beverages. The Rivelia using the latte crema system, a system we have reviewed in detail in Cafe Lista, and it works very well. I did my measurements with the whole milk right outside of the fridge. For temperature, we start at 75 degrees at the start of heating and then stabilization at 80 when the coffee comes out. The texture for the cappuccino or the latte macchiato is dense, smooth. We have a pretty good microfoam. The latte crema system does a good frothing. It's noticeably hotter than some tests I have seen elsewhere. With the temperature to the max, we really get good milk beverages. The carafe detaches completely. We can put it in the fridge between uses. The automatic cleaning system works well. After each milk beverages, the machine offers to rinse the circuit, and you should do it. This prevents milk from coagulating inside here, and that just happened to me recently. A point of attention here, this standard version has only the latte crema hot. For the cold beverages, you need to buy the latte crema cool, which is sold separately. It's an additional cost to consider if you drink iced latte. And by the way, I'm about to make a new video on how to use and how to get the best setting for your DeLonghi Rivelia. If you don't want to miss it, you should subscribe to the channel. Now the noise and the sound comfort. So here we have an excellent surprise. I used my sound meter and measure it precisely. The average here is around 66 decibels for 5 to 7 seconds. And then the pump starts, and when the espresso comes out, we have a sound around 55 decibels. To give you a point of reference, 66 decibel is the level of a normal conversation. It could be quite loud for a few seconds, but for a machine in this category, it is really well controlled. Compared to the Eletta Explore, we are in the same sound level. But compared to the Dinamica, the Magnifica, some other Philips model, it is quite low. So yes, there is still noise for a few seconds during grinding. But overall, the Rivelia won't wake up the whole house if you make your coffee early in the morning. Let's talk about maintenance, operating costs. So it's not the most sexy subject, but it's quite important. Classic DeLonghi here. We have an automatic rinse at startup and shutdown. It is normal. We have a removable coffee group that can be rinsed, that should be rinsed every week. And most importantly, we have a descaling that is guided by the machine every 2, 3 or 4 months. It depends on your water. A nice little plus here. We have a 1.4 liter reservoir that can be filled without removing it. You just have to open the lid here. It is unique in the DeLonghi's machine. It's a small details, but I quite like it. So sure, it's smaller than the 1.8 liter on other model, but this filling, the coffee ground container holds about 10 coffee puck. The drip tray empties also easily, nothing special here, but everything is designed to simplify the maintenance. You can count between 40 euros to 50 US dollars per year in descaling product. A little bit more if you use the filters from DeLonghi, but that's about it. Now, let's see the Rivelia with the competition at DeLonghi. I won't go into too much detail here. I'm preparing other video about that, but still I want to give you a quick panorama. Against the Magnifica and the Magnifica Evo, for example, the price difference is entirely explained by the machine brain. You know, the Evo or the Magnifica makes pretty good coffee with basic buttons, but the Rivelia is kind of a premium experience. We have a color screen, intelligent guidance, the bean switch. So if you just want a good cappuccino in the morning without complication, the Magnifica Evo is enough. If you want more technology, versatility, the Rivelia justify the price. Now, against the Eletta Explore, and here it could be a little bit more complex. The Eletta Explore costs a bit more, but offers also true cold extraction. We have here a cold brew in a few minutes. 2 original milk systems. We have the hot and the cold. The Eletta Explore offers around 50 pre-programmed drinks compared to 12 to 16 on the Rivelia. I'm sorry, it happens pretty much every time. Here you can say hi. Sorry for the cat. So the choice depends on your priorities. Do you want a unique bean switch system or a complete cold beverage ecosystem with up to 50 drinks? But there is a tip. If you buy the Rivelia, you can also buy the optional Latte Crema Cool, which bring you close to the Eletta price, but without the cold extraction and with less drink. Something to consider based on your habits. The price consideration now. So this machine costs around 700 to 800 euros in Europe and between 12 to 1500 in North America in US dollar. So depending on the market, there is a significant variation, but this machine still offers a pretty good value for the money. Against the competition like Jura, Psycho for example, it defends itself pretty well. So what are the strengths of this machine? Of course, a really practical 2-bean system, an exceptional interface and intelligent guidance, a controlled noise level compared to the competition, a compact and modern design that changes from other DeLonghis. And to finish, the reservoir here filling without removal. A few weaknesses of this machine. The 2 coffee hoppers works well, but not the best if you have different coffees. The bean switch system is great, but could be a bit limited if you have a really different type of coffees. The plastic hot water spout that feels cheap. And to finish, the machine pretty small container and reservoir compensated by the easy filling. For whom exactly now? I would recommend this machine, of course, if you want to try and use different kind of coffee easily. This is the best option on the market right now. If you appreciate technology without complication, if your kitchen space is limited, and if you're starting in the espresso world and you don't want anything too hard to master at the beginning, I would avoid it if you're mostly drinking cold drinks and cold extraction. And if you want a lot of drinks, maybe the Eletta Explore could be a better choice. So, final verdict. I think the Rivelia generally succeeds in its bet, desimplifying life for multi-coffee household with style and technology. The bean switch works well, but you have to keep in mind some limitation of it. It's a machine for those who prioritize user experience and practicality over pure performance. In its price range, it's a pretty good choice with a real innovation. My final rating, a pretty good 7.5 on 10. An intelligent machine with a concrete innovations, a few compromises to accept. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it really helped you to see clearly. Now you might have a better idea on the DeLonghi Rivelia. So what do you think? Would you buy it or no? Don't forget to subscribe not to miss any of our independent review. But don't leave yet. If you enjoyed that video, I would recommend watching this one here. I'm pretty sure you will love it. Don't forget to download the free guide. It's in the description. As usual, I'll see you soon on Cafe Lista. I hope you will have a good week. Ciao.